Hi, this is Lindsay Gibson here at Majestic Yoga Studio. It's our last day. You've made it. It's been a pleasure teaching all of you, and I'd like to thank you from all of the teachers at Majestic Yoga Studio. To learn more about the studio and our teachers, please visit majesticyogastudio.com and have a great practice. Hi, my name is Lindsay Gibson, and this is Melissa Brennan, my student tonight. And our class today that we'll be focusing on is Hatha Yoga. So enjoy. And what you'll need today for today's class is you'll need 2 blankets and 2 blocks. And if you don't have 2 blankets, you can use 2 towels. So you'll take 1 blanket or towel, and you'll unfold it so it's like this. And then fold it in half lengthwise, and then roll it up from the narrow end, the skinny end, and try to roll it up fairly tight, almost like you're rolling up a sleeping bag. Give you some memories of camp days. And then we'll place it on your mat, and then you'll lie down so that it's underneath your right armpit chest, your side ribs, and then stretch your right arm straight out, and then we're going to place a blanket on your shoulder. So the blanket on the shoulder is just so that your head and neck are in neutral. So in other words, all 4 sides of your neck are long. If it feels like you could go a little higher, we can just make the blanket a little bit higher, and I'll show you what I mean with Melissa here. You can just fold it over a little bit more, which I actually prefer because her neck is really, everything's in neutral here. And then stretch your top arm along your top leg, your top hip. And line up from the back of the shoulders all the way down to your feet. So Melissa, bring your feet back a little bit. Good. And now try to find steadiness here. You want to press out through the big toe, pinky toe, through your inner and outer heels. And if it's hard to feel your inner and outer heels, try to feel your ankle bones. And then ground your tailbone. So imagine you have this energy, beautiful red color running from your tailbone. Draw it all the way down through your legs, through your feet, into the earth. And then draw that energy back up through your legs, all the way up through your hips, through your pelvis, through your spine, through the crown of the head. And then try to lengthen your side body. And your side body runs from the top of your pelvis all the way up to the armpit chest. And what you're doing here is you're starting to open up your side body and open up your shoulder core. So if you have any neck or upper back or shoulder problems, this is a great pose to do. And just a natural breath, a natural diaphragmatic breath. And so your diaphragm is based just at the base of your sternum, at the bottom of your ribs, rest right above your belly. And imagine it like an umbrella, and as you breathe, you just want to fill up the umbrella with your breath. Now come up on your bottom elbow and hold your head with your hand. And you can push the blanket off to the side, or you can just leave it there. And try to lengthen, again, both sides of your body, almost like you're lengthening the inner seam of your shirt and the outer seam of your shirt. And grounding your tailbone, so drawing that energy down through your legs, through your feet into the earth, and then drawing that energy back up again. And notice as you are lying on the bolster, you're a little bit unstable. Notice where you borrow from. So in other words, notice where you're maybe holding tension, where you may be tight, and just try to feel those areas. And by feeling them, that's going to help you to try to soften and let them go. Pressing out through your inner heels, really grounding your tailbone. Start to lift your top foot up. You're going to be a little bit unsteady here. And so try to use your core and your breath, and your diaphragm is down. And just notice the difference between both sides. You may find that your right side's longer. You may find your left side's longer. Just notice. And it doesn't matter which side is longer. Just notice and observe it. And then we'll come to the other side. So now we'll take the blanket and put it, and we'll come lie with your left side on the blanket. And we'll take the other blanket and we'll put it on top of your shoulder. And just like the other side, we'll just make this blanket a little bit higher so that Melissa's neck is in neutral, so all four sides are even. And you want to line up from the back of the head all the way down to your feet. If it's hard to know where you're at in space, you can try to feel the backs of your shoulders, maybe the top of your pelvis, and then your feet. And try to feel the bolster underneath your side armpit chest. And by feeling that, see if that helps you to start to create length in your side body. And it's almost like you're zipping up the side seams of your shirt, or like side seams of a sweater. You feel the zipping up or the knitting up of the side body. Keep doing that, and then root your tailbone, ground your tailbone down through the backs of your legs, through your heels into the earth. And then drawing that energy back up again through your legs, through your feet, through your legs, up through your pelvis, all the way through the spine, through your heart, all the way up to the crown of your head. And just keep that energy flowing back and forth. And noticing where you hold tension. And imagine, try to lengthen your upper spine. So imagine that you have a little marble rolling along your upper spine to help you create length. But move slowly so that you can really feel it running along your spine there. And then ground your tailbone again. Now come up on your bottom elbow, hold your head with your hand. And really try to lengthen, feel that blanket under your side body. And what it's doing is it's opening up your whole side armpit chest. It's opening up the upper spine, your neck, your shoulders, your chest muscles. It's about how the arm bone relates to your shoulder, how your arm bone relates to your spine, your collarbones, and your shoulder blades. Now lengthening out through your inner heels, start to lift your top leg up. And pretend you have that little marble running up along your spine again. Keep that, and then ground your tailbone through your feet. And filling up your diaphragm with your breath. Relaxing the back of the shoulders, the base of the neck, and try to soften the back of the heart. Because the heart, your solar plexus area, is an area that a lot of us hold tension. Now lowering the leg back down. And then push your blankets off to the side and come onto your back and just take a moment to notice. And let this deep work, just let it settle in. You always want to give yourself a few moments after doing deep neuromuscular repatterning here. Good, now let's bend your knees. And then roll over onto your side, come up to the top of the mat, and let's come into Tadasana, into mountain pose. So grounding down through your feet evenly, the big toe, pinky toe, your inner and outer edge of the heel. Ground your tailbones, draw the energy from your tailbone down through your legs, through your feet, into the earth. Lengthening your side body. So from the top of the pelvis, the top of your hip bones, you want to lengthen all the way up through your side armpit chest. Like you're zipping up the side seams of a sweater, or just stitching up the side seams of your shirt. And reaching your arms up to the sky. Ground yourself, so really root the tailbone down and see if you can grow your side body even longer. Lift your shoulder blades up a little bit, relaxing your shoulders, and then grow your side body even longer, grounding your tailbone, and bring your hands in front of your heart and forward fold into Uttanasana, into forward bend. You can bend your knees if that feels a little bit better coming down. Now in Uttanasana, you can stay with your hands on the ground. If your hips and back are a little bit tight, then use blocks. You can also bend your knees. So bend your knees in Uttanasana, forward bend. Ground your feet, drawing the energy from your legs up from your feet up through your legs, into your pelvis, into your heart, and then root your tailbone down. Keep that, and we'll come into Adho Uttanasana. Bring your heart forward, lengthen your side body. Ground your tailbone, and then come back into Uttanasana, back into forward bend. And then moving with your breath, your side body is long, ground your tailbone, come back into Adho Uttanasana, into half forward bend, and back into Uttanasana. Keep that length in your side body, keep the grounding of your tailbone. One more time. Adho Uttanasana, side body's long, and the heart just floats forward, and then back into Uttanasana. Bending your knees, come into chest opener, so bend your knees, your side body's long, tailbone's grounded, lift your left leg up, step back into lunge. Hands are on either side of your front foot. Ground your feet, so really feel the ground with both feet. Feel your inner heels, lengthening your side body and your upper spine, and then ground your tailbone again. Keep that, bring your right hand behind your head. Now if you need blocks, if you find that you can't get the front thigh parallel to the ground, you can use blocks underneath your hands. Gently press the back of your head into your hand, relaxing your shoulder. Start to turn your heart to the right and reach your arm up to the sky. Lengthening out through the back inner heel, root your tailbone down a little bit more. So the twist comes from growing your side body long and from your heart. One more breath. And then lowering your hand back down, step forward into forward bend, Uttanasana. And bending your knees again, come back into chest opener, so side body's long, ground your tailbone. Lift your right leg up, stretching it back, nice and slowly so you can stay in your core. Bringing your foot down, your front thigh is parallel to the ground. Again, if that's a little bit uncomfortable, use blocks under your hands. Root your tailbone, so draw the energy from your tailbone through your legs into your feet, into the earth, and then draw that energy back up. And that's going to help you to square your hips off. It'll help you really connect to your core. Keep that, bring your left hand behind your head. Gently pressing your head into your hand, which helps you to lengthen your upper spine. But now, make that deeper and try to lengthen your side body. Remember what it felt like on the blanket. Keep that and turn your heart to the left. Relax your shoulders, because we all borrow from our shoulders here. Beautiful. Reach your arm up to the sky. So whenever you do heart opening, you always want to ground yourself. So you're turning the heart, but then ground that tailbone even more, down through your legs into the earth. And from that groundedness, see if that helps you to turn your heart and deepen the twist a little more. You want to keep the hips square, belly button straight ahead. Lovely. Lower your hand back down. Place your hands on the ground, step back into downward dog. So in downward dog, bend both knees. Ground your toes. If you can, big toe, pinky toe, if you can really press down through the 10 toes, toe mounds, do. Push the ground away with your hands. And ground your tailbone. So draw the energy from your tailbone down through your legs into the earth. And drawing it back up through your legs again. And then try to lengthen your side body. See if you can grow your side body long. And keep that. You can move towards a straighter leg. Or you can keep your knees bent. You just want to stay in your feet. And you want to feel like you can stay grounded in your tailbone. Keeping your side body long. And that'll help you stay in your core. And think of that umbrella, not umbrella, or a parachute if you'd like, and fill up the umbrella with your breath. And that's going to help you keep the fullness in the inner body and the side body long. And staying here for 2 more breaths. And let's come into child's pose. Now, if child's pose hurts your knees, you can put a blanket under your knees. If it hurts your knees or it's difficult to come all the way back, you can put a blanket underneath the backs of the knees, and I'll just show you what that looks like, or a bolster. So if you want a blanket under the backs of the knees, you can just, for those of you it's difficult to sit back, you just put a blanket right in the backs of the knees, and that'll allow you to sit back and then release, and you can actually, you'll be able to enjoy child's pose. or you can put a block under there too. So I'll just take this out from Melissa. And so come back into child's pose. And in child's pose, let your hips be heavy. Press down through your toes, press your toenails into the ground. And try to come up on your fingertips and lengthen your side body. So you're pulling your hips back, you're grounding your tailbone, and you're trying to lengthen the side body. Lengthen the right side of your body, lengthen the left side of your body. And then just let your hands release down to the ground and enjoy that length, enjoy that openness for a few breaths. And notice what your breath feels like. Notice what your mind feels like. And when you're in an inverted pose like this, it gives the diaphragm a moment to relax. Now, walking your hands back towards your knees, let's push up into Uttanasana, into forward bend. And then pressing into your feet, slowly come on up, standing into Tadasana, into mountain pose. And we'll take one block, and we're going to come from triangle pose. We're going to come into triangle pose and move from triangle pose into half moon, into Ardha Chandrasana. So Trikonasana into Ardha Chandrasana. So take the block, just put it up at the top of your mat. Now, I'll give you the option to also do this at the wall. So if you're a little bit unsteady in half moon, you can do it with a wall, or you can actually even do it with a couch behind you. Just want to make sure the couch or the chair, the back side of the couch or the chair is right behind your pelvis, right behind your hips. Hands on your hips. Step back with your left foot. And turn the left toes in a little bit. And you want to either be heel to heel or sitting bones width apart. The most important thing is that you feel like the weight's even in both feet. And I'd like you to turn your pelvis forward so that the front knee is facing straight ahead. You'll open your hips up, but you'll open your hips from your feet. Now ground your feet, really root down through the big toe, pinky toe, through the inner and outer heel, and really ground through that back left outer heel. Drawing the energy from your tailbone down through your legs into the earth, drawing that energy back up again, and lengthen both sides of your body, sides of your waist. Reaching your right arm up to the sky. Now stay in your foundation, keep rooting your tailbone, and use your core to stretch long over your front leg. Bringing the hand down on the inside of that right big toe, using your block. And Melissa can actually put her block a little bit lower. And check to make sure the front knee is straight ahead. And if it's not, turn the back hip in a little bit. So ground your feet again, root the tailbone down. Drawing the energy back up through your legs, through your pelvis, into your heart, all the way up to the crown of your head. And bring your left hand behind your head. Now, stay in your foundation, root your tailbone, and gently press your head into your hand. Turning your heart to the left. Lengthen your side body. And you want to be careful to keep the front knee straight ahead and not pull from that back hip. So lengthen both sides of your waist, which is going to give you length in your spine. And then there's a real openness in your heart. And from there, you can reach your arm up to the sky. Now go back to your foundation, your feet, grounding your tailbone, lengthen your side body, and from that you have a lot of stability, and see if you can turn your heart a little bit more. And if it feels comfortable, you can turn your head towards the sky. One more breath. Now you're going to bring your top hand on your hip, look down at your bottom foot, bend your front knee, step in with the back foot, bring the block forward, rise up into half moon. Now rise up slowly, don't rush to open the hip. You want to come from your feet, so ground yourself, ground your tailbone, lengthen your side body, pull your belly button in, and reach your arm up to the sky. Now you may find it's more comfortable to look down at the block or the ground with your head. So Melissa, yeah, look down at the block. Go back to your foundation, your feet, grounding your tailbone, lengthen your side body. Now you can stay there, or you can turn your head to look straight ahead or up to the sky. But if you find that you're a little wobbly, keep your gaze looking down. Lovely. 2 more breaths. If you find you're a little unsteady, you can bend the knee. Again, you can also come down and you can use a wall or a chair or a couch behind you. And then let's come back into triangle pose, back into Trikonasana. Trying to stay steady, and if you wobble, just make your way back into triangle pose comfortably. And stay here for a few breaths. And then pressing into both feet, come on up standing. Nice, and then step forward and we'll switch sides. So coming back into mountain pose, hands on your hips, step back with your right foot, either heel to heel, sitting bones width apart, and turn your back toes in a little bit. And everybody has different ranges of motion, so find what feels comfortable. Turn your pelvis forward enough so that the left knee is straight ahead. Ground your feet, root the energy from your tailbone down through your legs into the earth, drawing that energy back up again. Let that energy rise all the way up through your heart, through the crown of the head, reaching your left arm up to the sky. Lengthen the side seam of your body and keep that as you stretch long over your front leg. Staying steady with your breath as you come into the pose. Hand is on the inside of the left big toe. Look down at your foot. Find your foundation again. Ground your tailbone. Bring your right hand behind your head, gently pressing the head into your hand. And just relax your shoulders. Lengthen your side body, which is going to bring you into your core and into your heart, and then you turn from your heart. And so what happens a lot when we start to move from our heart is we get disconnected, we get ungrounded. So ground your tailbone again. Go back to your feet and see if that actually gives you a little more opening in the hips, a little more stability in the pelvis, connects you more to your core, and see if you can turn your heart a little more. And then reach your arm up to the sky. Now bring your top hand on your hip, looking down at your bottom foot, bend your front knee, step in with the back foot, bring the block forward, rise up into half moon Ardha Chandrasana. Now you can bend the bottom knee. You really want to, if you'd like, or you can have the legs straight, but I want you to be really grounded in your foot. So feel the bottom foot, press out through the top inner and outer heel. Think of your Barbie doll feet. Ground your tailbone, lengthen your side body. Keep looking down at the block, and then reach your arm up to the sky. Now you can keep your head looking down, or if it feels more comfortable, you can turn your gaze straight ahead. And if you can stay steady, you can turn your gaze up to the sky. Breathing into your diaphragm, so you want a nice, deep, diaphragmatic breath. Thinking of that umbrella. Lengthening out through the inner heel, ground your tailbone, and see if that can give you a little more opening. Now very slowly make your way back into triangle pose, into Trikonasana. You can bend your knee, which is probably a little bit easier, give you a little more steadiness. And stay in triangle pose for a few more breaths. Finding your foundation, rooting down through your feet, grounding that tailbone. And see if your pose feels a little bit different than it did when we first started. Now pressing into both feet, come on up standing. And step forward, coming into Tadasana. And come stand with your feet together, hands in front of your heart for a few breaths. You want to feel the weight even in both feet, rooting that tailbone down, growing your side body long, reaching your spine, reaching your heart up to the sky, and then ground yourself again. And before you open your eyes, take a moment to check in. Notice how your body feels. Notice how your mind feels, how your heart feels, your breath feels, your inner body feels. Hopefully you feel like everything's a little more open, your breath's more relaxed, your heart's softer. And then very slowly open your eyes, and we'll make our way into Shavasana. So you can come lie in Shavasana in any way you'd like. I'll just have Melissa lie flat in Shavasana for now. Just stretch both legs straight out. You can bring your feet together. You can bring them wide, whichever feels more comfortable. And just let your legs release. Let your feet turning out. Just bring your arms out to the side. They can be close to your side. They can be a little further out. And give yourself these few moments to release and soften onto the mat and let go.